Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through the basic stances, the stances that you'll encounter in your lower grade patterns. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our walking stances, our L stances and our sitting stances. So first things first, for a walking stance, it is a shoulder width wide. So if I'm stood in chin B or in my ready position, my feet are already a shoulder width apart. Now, I'm going to step back 1.5 shoulder widths or step forward 1.5 shoulder widths, depending on which direction you are going to go with the block. Now, if I take my right leg back 1.5 shoulder widths, so don't worry about the hands at the moment, we're just going to concentrate on the block. Now, my front leg's bent slightly, my back leg is locked straight. Now, the toes of my back foot can be slightly turned out just to make it a little bit more comfortable, but I don't want them to the side. They've got to be still facing forward. Now, the weight distribution on this stance is 50-50, so my weight is even. Even though you might think that there's more weight on the front leg, I'm evenly balancing my weight. Now, if I stood to the side with the stance, again, my feet are shoulder width apart, I can step back now 1.5 shoulder widths, I've got the dimensions of my stance, keeping your back nice and upright. Now, easy way to tell or easy way to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart when you step back, have your hands by your side. If I step back now and I can touch my legs, they're a shoulder width apart. If my legs aren't in line and I can't touch my leg, then obviously I've moved my stance back a little bit and I'm going to be off balance. Right, the next stance we're going to look at is an L stance. So the L stance is called an L stance because it's shaped like the letter L. So what we're going to do to go into the stance, I'm going to stand my feet parallel. I'm going to turn my one foot to the side, so it's side facing. Now I'm going to make my heels touch each other. So I've got an L shape like so. Now I'm going to edge my foot about 1 inch away from my heel. So the inside of my foot is about 1 inch away from my heel. Then I'm just going to slide my foot forward 1.5 shoulder widths. So the dimensions of the stance are 1.5 shoulder widths long and 1 inch between my heels in width. Now, when I'm doing this stance, the weight distribution is 70-30. So there's 70% of my weight on my back leg, 30 on my front leg. So when I sit back into the stance now, I'm going to sink my hips down. So most of my weight is on my back leg. I want to make sure my back knee is in line with my toes, and I want to have my front leg slightly bent. The reason for this is if it's straight, I'm not going to be as stable in the stance or feel as comfortable. So you want to make sure now you're half facing, you feel nice and stable in the stance, your legs feel nice and strong like you can't be moved. Now if I show you the stance to the side, again I'm going to have my feet parallel, turn my one foot to the side, touch my heels, edge it over about 1 inch, slide the foot forward 1.5 shoulder widths, sink down into the stance. So if you're stood up now, the weight's 50-50, then you're going to sink back, so my weight now is in this back leg, making the front leg nice and light for kicking. And obviously, if I was doing more half-facing techniques. The next stance we're going to look at is a sitting stance. Now, a sitting stance is called a sitting stance because it looks like you're sitting down. Now, a sitting stance is 1.5 shoulder widths wide. Now, there's no real length to the stance because my feet are parallel. So, if I start in my ready position, so my feet are a shoulder width apart, then I just have to step out 1/2 shoulder width now to make sure that I've got the 1.5 shoulder width dimensions. Now it's between my feet. Now when I'm doing this stance, I want to sink my weight down so I'm nice and stable. I'm pushing my knees out so I don't want my knees to cave in. I want them to be nice and strong, toes turned in, knees pushed out. Now the idea of this stance is almost like a mini squat, is to develop leg strength and power. Now when I'm in this stance, I want to make sure that I'm nice and stable, that I'm sinking into it, so my weight now is in my legs. Now if you look at me go side on, so I'm going to again have my feet in line with each other, and I'm going to step out 1.5 shoulder widths, bend my knees, back nice and straight, sinking into the stance, nice and stable like so.